Hey guys, so just doing a video on that concept that I mentioned in one of the calls. And a few people have been asking Ed, so Ed's asked me to put together this video. And basically, the idea behind this is how you compete in extremely competitive and high CPC niches with Google Ads. I won't read all of this. I'll upload this to the group as well and give it to Ed. So if you want to read through, I'm going to breeze through this relatively quickly. But basically, you would have encountered over your time as a Google Ads manager, agency owner, whatever, if you have run Google Ads, you would have found niches or industries where cost per clicks are, tens, hundreds, and even higher sometimes of dollars for a single click. So, things like finance. So the client that I have used this with is a fintech loan company. And in Australia, the cost per click for their products is anywhere from 15 to $60 per click. Some of the keywords are even higher, but yeah, that's the kind of range we're dealing with. And so you can see how very, very quickly you could chew through a very, very large budget. So these guys spend, I think, around 75, 80K per month in ads, sometimes up to 100. And surprisingly, that sounds like a lot, but um, it really isn't in this industry, and it took time to get it to work well. Um, so, how did I get around this? Oh yeah, one thing is that this problem actually gets worse with smart and automated bidding because, as a lot of you would be aware, sometimes, especially in the early stages, cost per clicks are really high. So, what is my solution? My solution is let's feed the Google Ads algorithm with a very large amount of data. So more than you could using a normal, here's one conversion. We're going to add multiple conversion events for multiple events that we have. And we're going to assign a value that increases as we get closer to the sale. So I'm going to show you an example shortly, but think about it even in an e-commerce funnel. And by the way, I would not recommend this in e-commerce. I'm actually recommending this for lead gen. I don't find this is necessary for e-commerce, and I've not found that it works particularly well, unless there's something that actually has a lot of actual, quote requests. Potentially a B2B e-commerce business may find some use in this, but this is mainly lead gen. But if you think about it from like an e-commerce point of view of getting closer to the sale, so the first step, might be just adding to cart. You might have initiate checkout, completed checkout, and then you've got the thank you page. So that might be 4 steps. I'll give you the lead gen example in a moment. One thing to note, guys, is you have to have valuable events. These can't be things that aren't really valuable. So you have to think about this logically. And the best way I've found it is using multi-step forms. So a lead form that has multiple steps that people go through, and each step is more valuable than the last. One thing to note is I find using max conversions or max conversion value and using broad match keywords to be the best way to do this. The requirements for this are a multi-step form or multiple valuable conversion events on your website or landing page, Google Tag Manager installed, and the tags that I'll show you below set up. Conversion event created in Google Ads. This is important, obviously. You need to have this event set up. Use max conversions and max conversion value, I recommend, because I find that over time, as it gets more and more data, it gets better and better using this strategy. So as it finds more people to buy or become leads, the better it gets. And you will find that your cost per click may not come down that much, but your cost per conversion will. And quite often, I do find cost per click does come down over time as well. Multi-step form. I find the easiest way to do this is if there's a separate URL for each one, so it's easily tracked. That's the method I'm going to show you. If you don't have that, there'll be other ways to track it in Tag Manager. Use a similar method, just obviously change it for whatever it is you're doing. So, the step one, I'm basically collecting basic contact information, the URL, and something in like get your quote is just an example, but basic contact information is like email, name. Page two collects information about the loan they wish to apply for, so loan amount and things like that. And that ends in loan. So obviously I assign a more valuable amount there. Page three collects information relating to the person's financial assets, ends in assets. So if someone's filled out this step, it's even more valuable. And then page four is the thank you page. And obviously this is the most valuable event. So the tag manager setup, I'm just going to show you in here. Reason being is I didn't really want to go in and have to edit and blur stuff out of my clients. So you're just going to have to make do with little screenshots here. So create a new trigger. The trigger type is page view. Select some page views and then select page URL ends with dash whatever your URL ends with. So this is what it looks like here. So when you click create a new trigger, the type of trigger you want to select is a page view trigger. And obviously you need to have these set up as variables. I'm not going to show you that because that's basic tag manager stuff. And page view is the one you want to select. You're going to select some page views because we only want it to fire this trigger when the page URL ends with get your quote. And you can see that here is the reference tag that this mentions. And then tag setup. So once you have your trigger, you can set up your tag. Create a Google Ads conversion tracking tag. So that's the one you select down here. It has the little Google symbol logo. Add the conversion ID. You're going to get this from Google Ads. You'll see it in the next step. So you can actually, really, you're probably going to have to come back and do this, but just have it set up ready to go. Don't have the ID. Have it set up on a separate tab. And you'll also get the conversion label again from Google Ads as well. Once this is all done, you can send it live and test in the preview tool, but we'll go into Google Ads. Depending which layout you are using, go to conversions, tools and settings in the old layout, or goals in the new layout. Navigate to conversion goals and click plus new conversion action. So you'll see it here. Click the new conversion action. You want to select a website for the event you want to track. So I've highlighted it there. You can hit your domain here and the new tools kind of scan and see if there's already events set up ready to go. You'll likely need to select the manual method for this and then go add conversion action manually. You'll get taken to this screen and you want to select whatever type of goal it is for you that you're optimizing for. Don't be too worried about this one. It's more the value that is the main thing. As long as it's a relevant event and they're all kind of grouped under the same thing, it'll be fine. Set it as a primary event if that's something you want to track for. If it's not, set it as a secondary. If you just want to test this out before doing anything and just see that it works, you could set it as a secondary event. You then want to assign a value to the conversion event. To determine this value, guys, it's going to come down to your own business. I look at the drop-off between each section of the form and work out, what's a lead worth to me, and then kind of times it by the drop-off rate. Otherwise, you could do something as simple as step 1 might be $10, step 2 might be $20, step 3 might be $40, and step 4 might be $100, for example. This is an example. Just obviously do the math for your business, guys. You can see here what it actually looks like. Use the same value for each conversion, and we're going to go $10. And the reason we're using the same values, it's not e-commerce. We're not going to have dynamic values here. Now, what you can do to make this even better is if you upload obviously the offline conversion events will help even more with this. So as you over time do this, if you have offline conversion events or things that link up into your CRM, and you can actually put the values of things, you can set up dynamic values with that, then that's an option as well. But let's not overcomplicate this. Fill out the rest of the steps, and on the next screen, click Save and Continue. So you'll come here, and then you will want to click Save and Continue, and then you'll be taken to the next page where you can select Google Tag Manager as the method of installing the tag. This is where you're going to get the conversion ID and label that I mentioned earlier. You're going to get those, and you're going to put them on that tag, and then you can send it live and test it. So this is what it'll look like. You'll have use Google Tag Manager. There's other methods to do it here. I'm showing you the Tag Manager method, and then conversion ID is there. Conversion label is this one here. So that's what you'll need to put in Tag Manager further up that I showed you. Make sure you test these tags are firing correctly. You will likely need to mess around with the values initially. And then what you're going to want to do in terms of campaign settings and bidding strategy, as I said, this works for best in high CPC niches, and I recommend using broad match keywords, either max conversions or max conversion value. I'd start off max conversions to begin with, and then you can switch to max conversion value, because max conversions is going to go broader. One tricky bit is if you go straight with value is the cost per click goes really high. So sometimes it's not viable on a smaller budget. So the bigger the budget, the more likely I would use max conversion value. You're going to need to be on top of those negative keywords since we're using broad match. So make sure you are adding those regularly. But over time, it's going to improve a lot, especially as the machine learning gets more and more data. And down the track, you can set a target CPA or target ROAS. I would just select something similar to what you're currently getting and adjust it up or down over time as needed. So I hope this helps you guys. Please let me know if there's any questions, or if I've missed anything or can clarify anything, let me know.